Welcome back to The Shelf, a Whangarei District Library radio show hosted on Beagle 88.1 FM. And I'm joined in the studio by a very special guest. This is Verena from Volunteering Northland. Hi, Verena.
Kia ora.
Thanks for coming in and joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So just a little intro about Verena. She works at Volunteering Northland, like I said, which is based in Whangarei. And over the past few years, she has partnered with us and Whangarei Library to put on community events such as the Human Library and the Dragons in the Library. And we've invited her here today to talk about a different upcoming event that Verena is staging in the library called the Volunteer Fair. And that's happening on the 22nd of June, I believe.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, so welcome, Verena, again, and thank you for taking the time to talk to me.
My pleasure.
So before we talk about the Volunteer Fair, can you tell us a little bit about Volunteering Northland as an organisation?
Yes, so our office is based in Whangarei, but we are covering the whole of Northland, Te Tai Tokoro, with our service. We are a non-for-profit organisation and we're a community development agency. So that means we support positive developments in the community. We support a lot of projects and initiatives and other community organizations that want to change the community for the better, and we do that through providing support around everything volunteering. So we help our almost 200 member organizations with finding volunteers through our volunteer portal. We support them with professional development training and first aid courses for, reduced fees, and support them with their volunteering programs and any questions they might have around that.
Wow, that is so awesome. It sounds like a lot of work, but really good mahi that you're doing.
It's very rewarding, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's fulfilling, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So how long have you personally worked there?
I've worked there for almost 4 years now, I think. And I started out as an outreach coordinator for Far North and Mid North and Kaipara District. And then, I became the community coordinator over the years for mainly the Whangarei District and the Youth Volunteer Project. And do whatever is needed.
Oh, that's awesome. How long has Volunteering Northland been going? Do you know?
Must be about 11 years now, probably.
Wow. Yeah.
So was started by Bart and Lucy, and they started it as volunteers themselves, based on the model of volunteer centers in other countries. And there are other volunteer centers around Aotearoa, 16 to be exact, in different parts of the country. And we're just one of those.
Oh, that's so cool. What sort of local organizations belong to or do you work with?
Well, almost half of our organizations are in Whangarei. And that's from, all the big organizations like St. John's, SPCA, Red Cross, Fire and Emergency, so all those bigger ones, to very small ones, fully volunteer run, like, for example, Beagle is one of our
Shout out to Beagle.
Yes.
Oh, that's really cool. So what are the benefits, would you say, for those organizations for getting involved?
In the Volunteer Fair or with Volunteering Northland?
Oh, with Volunteering Northland overall, maybe, and then we can get into the fair soon. Yeah.
So one of the main things we do is connecting you with potential volunteers, connecting you with others who do the same mahi and have the same passion, connecting you with professional development opportunities, and we just keep you informed about everything that's happening in the volunteer space. That's, I would say, one of the main benefits, connecting people.
Yeah, that's so important. I don't know if this is a false perception, but there is this kind of perception that less people are willing and available to volunteer right now. So is that correct, or what is the state of volunteering? Is there still a lot of... a lot?
That is a tricky question, as in a lot has changed in the volunteer landscape throughout the last few years, especially after and during the pandemic. So worldwide, there was a drop in volunteers. I think the first year through the pandemic and then after was about 30% less volunteers all across the world. And then the second year, another 30% drop. And so numbers really, really fell after COVID. And now it's, so volunteer numbers are slowly climbing back up again. But we are in a cost of living crisis. It is hard for people to find the time because they need to work. A lot more, of the older population that used to be one of the main demographics that volunteers. They need to look after their mokopuna while their children are working. It's harder to get to a place to volunteer because fuel is getting more expensive. So there are a lot of different elements that make volunteering difficult for people. And so I would say there were less barriers before COVID. And people still want to help. That hasn't changed. It's just the circumstances are getting harder. So yes, the volunteer landscape is in a way struggling because the community is struggling.
Yeah. And that makes total sense. I guess that makes it even more altruistic for people that do have the time to get involved, knowing what's happening. So for people that have the time and are thinking about volunteering, what would you say to them to give them a boost or encouragement to tell them to give it a go, maybe? Give it a try.
Well, I personally volunteered since I was, I think, 16 or 17, first in Germany, where I'm from originally, and then here. And I volunteered with a few different organizations, and I never regretted it to volunteer because I got so much out of it. At first, I could, do a thing that I'm passionate about, and I can help make positive change in the community, which is an important thing for me. I learned new skills, so I upskilled professionally as well, quite significantly in some cases. I got to meet a whole bunch of new friends and make, create your network in the community, especially in a small community as, Whangarei is. It's really important to know people and to find out how they work. I got a lot of my, how do I fit into Aotearoa, actually, a lot of that context. How do I work here? How do people work here? I found that out through volunteering. I got references out of it for my jobs and friends. Yeah. So I just found a community through it and could do what I'm passionate about.
Enjoy.
So that's what I would tell people, that I never regretted it. I don't think you will regret it. There is little to lose if you try it.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I really love that point that it fosters a sense of belonging in your community by contributing to it, by making that impact. Oh, so that's pretty awesome. What ages of people can volunteer? Can children volunteer for anything, or?
Anyone can volunteer, all ages. It's just that if, for example, you're underage, then we would help you find a different volunteer role potentially to something you can do once you're 18 or older. Because you do need certain protections when you're underage, or you might need some sort of, you might need a space that can accommodate a wheelchair, or we have a volunteer at Volunteering Northland with a visibility impairment, for example. So it's just about it will take more time to find a role that fits you.
Yeah.
If you're younger, or if you have some sort of condition that you come with, requirement. But there is a role out for everyone. I really believe that.
Yep, something for everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. And before we move on to the next bit, recently you had an amazing race event for Youth Week. What was the purpose behind that? What was the reasoning behind that? Because it was really cool.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it started with me. I'm really passionate about youth and supporting youth in the community. And so I wanted to do that with Volunteering Northland as well, and not just through my volunteer work. And we got some funding for a youth project as Volunteering Northland. And so I started talking to the youth advisory groups and all the young people that I work with in different areas and am connected to. And I found that a lot of them would love to help, but that they don't quite know how to get involved and where to start. So I thought, actually, if it's an amazing race, it's fun. And there's a little bit at stake, but not too much. And then if you can volunteer while you're having fun, that would be an amazing way to connect with the organizations, because they can do a little volunteer task. We had 8 stations run by local volunteer organizations. And if they can go from station to station to do a little volunteer task that they would do if they would volunteer regularly for this organization, and at the same time they can connect with the volunteers from that organization and find out more about that organization, then it would be much easier for them to be able to make a start, because they lose this fear of, they don't have to connect anymore. They're already connected.
Yeah, they're already there, yeah.
And they're doing it with their friends. And that was kind of the motivation behind it, to just lower the barriers and kind of make provide a space where they can do the first step.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, that is so awesome. And well done for that. Congratulations. It went really well.
Thank you.
Okay, so the volunteer fair is coming up really soon. So on the 22nd of June from 9 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. The library closes at 1, which is why it rounds up a little bit sooner than that. So can you tell us all about the volunteer fair? I know I worked with you last year on it. It was such a good time. But in your own words, what's the volunteer fair all about?
So the volunteer fair is essentially a bit like the volunteer race, just for all ages and not just for youth. It's a place to connect, to kind of lower the barrier, to connect to all the amazing organizations we have here in Whangarei. And we will have heaps of community organizations with their own stalls, with mini volunteering activities that you would do if you would volunteer for them. You can talk to them directly, face to face. You can find out what volunteering entails if you want to help them out. And you can do something good while you're, talking to them and find out more. We've got heaps of amazing stage program planned, entertainment. We've got some young people who, are Whangarei locals that will sing and play. We've got Sistema. Again, doing an amazing music show. We've got some dancing. We've got a volunteer morning tea that is specifically for volunteers that we want to, we want to say thank you to all the volunteers here in Whangarei. And yes, that's mainly it. We've got door prizes and prizes for if you, complete enough of the volunteering opportunities around the library.
That's so exciting. Yeah, I cannot wait. So, are there any other names can you name drop a few other organizations that might be involved, or is it like a secret?
No, it's not a secret. So I didn't mention that before, but the 200 organizations we work with, they span all sectors. So environmental work, a lot of environmental work happening here, conservation work here in Te Tai Tokoro, youth, health services, arts and crafts, heritage, heritage and culture. Drawing a blank here now, but
SPCA coming this year?
No, unfortunately
the puppies.
not. I know the puppies were amazing. No, they aren't allowed to bring puppies anymore, actually, which is a bit sad.
Yeah.
So no, SPCA is not part of it this year. What we have is the amazing 116 will be there.
Yes, go team.
Yes. So our arts and community venue, theater venue, Rainbow Youth supports queer youth. Habitat for Humanity will be there. Good Bitches Baking, which is an organization that supports people with providing home-baked goods. Citizens Advice Bureau, they're an amazing team with a lot of cool, knowledgeable volunteers. Alzheimer's Northland, Multicultural, Whangarei, Wings, the Women's International Newcomers Group Social, North Haven Hospice, Northland Youth Theater. This year, one of our new member organizations is Kiwi North, the Heritage Museum. Awesome. Then the Enviro Hub, the Eco Solutions Force and Repair Cafe, and Mountains to Sea Trust Community, Whangarei Neighborhood Support, and Grandparents Raising Grandchildren, which I'm also very excited about.
Oh, they sound awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, what a cool lineup. I can't wait to see them all on the day. Yeah, this is amazing work that these people are doing. This is so cool to have them all together in a space. Yeah. Oh, that's so awesome. So, who and what ages will find this interesting? So this is like for kids and adults as well. Again, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're making sure that there's entertainment for all age groups. So some of the volunteer activities you can do, if you're a young kid. We will have some activities for kids specifically. But yeah, for all age groups. Bring your whānau and, just join the fun. It's kind of, the idea is to make the library into a bit of a play space, a playground for volunteering for the day.
Awesome. Okay, so this happened last year, and it was awesome last year. So is there any difference this year about how it will be run, or is it mostly going to be the same kind of thing?
Well, last year, because it was the first volunteer fair we ever did, we kind of crammed a lot in that one space. So this year there won't be any volunteer awards to go with the fair. We are doing the volunteer awards, but we're doing it as a separate event one week before. So it will be probably just a little, not quieter, but the stage program will just be stage program. That's, I think, the main difference. We will have a few organizations, like fewer organizations there. I think last year we were kind of, the library was choka. That's right. This year it will be a few less, which just makes it a bit easier to get around and actually spend maybe a bit more time at each stall. Other than that, we just hope that the space in front of the library will be
Yes, fingers crossed. Yeah, so
finished by then.
if listeners aren't aware, there's a bit of construction going on with pay work outside the library, so one of our entrances is blocked. So yeah, we're just fingers crossed that that's going to be clear in time, so more people can come in and enjoy the Volunteer Expo.
Yes.
And we might just get in on the nick of time there, I think, maybe.
Hopefully.
So overall, I know you've touched on this, but what's your main goal? What do you hope to achieve from this event? What's the big takeaway?
I think my main, I would consider this a success if people went away and said, well, this was a fun 3 hours I spent in the library. I learned heaps about community organizations and their amazing work, and that they're inspired to do something good in their community, either through volunteering for one of those organizations or joining another organization. So I think if they have connected with something that they're excited about, that would be my main measure of success for the day. Yeah.
Totally. And I'm sure that will happen. I'm sure you get lots of people that are really encouraged and enthusiastic after attending. So from the library perspective, we love having events like the Volunteer Fair as it brings the community together. Like you said, we love seeing that too inside the library, and it fits with our goal of having the library as a community space. And I think as well as doing good amongst the community, I think volunteering seems like really cool, because when you do good, you feel good. So it all comes back to you and giving to others. I love it. So we might have a couple of minutes to just finish up. I was going to ask you about the questionable research lab. So this is a different project completely. So what's that all about? Because I'm interested.
Okay, so I work for Volunteering Northland, but I volunteer for Questionable Research Labs. Questionable Research Labs is a charitable trust. We are, I think, about 7-8 years old now. And we started as a little coding group and robotics group just for Kevin, the founder's sons. And then we kind of grew from there. And now we have all sorts of weekend events, like 48 hours making a film, a short film, or making games, or making terrible ideas that are well executed. For example, we made a microwave that talks and is very rude to you.
Oh my gosh.
So that was one of our projects through one of these weekends.
Yeah.
We've got something on almost every day after school. So we've got the science group for younger kids. We've got coding, robotics. We've got 3D modeling. We've got filmmaking and costume making on Thursdays. And then on Fridays, we've got game making. And then we've got some D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, that for the older ones at night. And whatever we find interesting, really. We do holiday programs. We were part of the Repair Cafe for a while, kind of teaching people how to take e-waste apart and how to recycle it. We're planning the Sandbox Convention, so that's another thing I'm part of, and the library bus will be part of. And that's our very own mini Armageddon, kind of nerdy convention for all things.
When was that again? That's coming up, isn't it?
Yes, so that's on the 27th of July.
Oh, cool.
And it will be at Forum North, so,
close to the library. Cool. Yes. So I think my main takeaway is that you're a very busy person.
Yeah, that is true.
But that's cool. You're doing so much good work in our community, and I know everyone's really grateful. And I'm grateful that you're coming to talk to me, so I wasn't talking to myself this whole hour of the radio show. And I can't wait for the volunteer fair coming up, so we'll both be there and we'll be having fun, I'm sure.
Yes, it will be amazing. So come one, come all.
Yeah, and just a reminder, that's 22nd of June coming up. So we hope to see everyone there, and I think we might as well wrap up the show here. I might throw it to a song. Thanks everyone for tuning in. You've been listening to The Shelf, a Whangarei District Library radio show on Beagle FM. Come along to the library, say hi to all of us, and see you next time.